Everything good, everything nice, everything dandy. I hear someone say in Nigeria, can everything be good, Kimberly? What are you on? Well, on water and high spirit, that's what. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm sure it's been wonderful conversation from the morning crossfire, what's happening at Abuja, the Sunnyside Show. And here's where I officially welcome you, Abuja, Nigeria, and the entire world to Hard Facts with yours truly, Kimberly Wachuku. Call me Kim, the Oracle, the Digital Oracle, OTF, the Fellow, or Chanyawan, Madam Speaker. And I will say yes to them all and be your host for the next 4 hours. And trust me, it would be a fantastic, awesome, amazing time on radio. So, Boy Scout honor, you're going to stay with me to the end of the show. Thank you very much. Let's start off looking at some of the big stories driving conversation in the country. And Gwenga is already set for us to go live on YouTube and Facebook. On YouTube is at Nigeria Info. ABJ on Facebook is at Nigeria Info ABJ. I'm repeating it one after the other. Not the day that I'll ask a quiz question and everybody will start asking, looking like I'm asking you a very random word question. Every single day on almost all the shows, we repeat our WhatsApp, our YouTube, maybe not so much our Instagram, but Instagram is at Nigeria Info Abuja, Twitter is at Nigeria Info ABJ, so that you acquaint yourself with them and know how to reach us on our socials. You have our phone number, you have our WhatsApp number, you have our office address, you have the address of our commercial department, the marketing department, that is, if you want to run any commercial business with them. What else do you need? That's pretty it. And every now and again, we throw up these questions during our quiz, but it's not happening today. I don't have cash to give away. But I do have interesting conversation to be had with you. And I do not have a guest with me today, so let's get on with the stories. Starting off with this particular report, which the Minister of Women Affairs is back in the news saying it's unacceptable. Uju Kennedy Ohaneye, Minister of Women Affairs, has petitioned the Inspector General of Police and sought a court injunction to hold the marriage of 100 girls in Niger State. Abdul Malik Serikindaji, Speaker of the Niger State House of Assembly, announced last week that he would sponsor the wedding of 100 girls, some of whom were orphaned by insurgency as part of his Maringa constituency project. He said he had procured material for the event scheduled for the 24th of May and promised to pay dowries for the bridegrooms. Now, following the outcry that trailed the announcement, the speaker explained that he was only financing the wedding. He was not in any way forcing the girls into marriage. So the financing aspect is, I'm going to sponsor your wedding. Groom, you don't have money to pay the dowry. I will provide the money for your dowry for you. I will fund certain part of it to go. Now, I'm a little curious as to what dowry entails. In the North, I've spent a good part of my life in the North. I mean, there are little things you buy, the basic things that the guy needs to bring, and the girls bring her own part. So perhaps maybe that is what he's looking at. And also, maybe you pay their rent and give them a little mobilization fee as they get into the business of marriage, because you can't just settle them on the wedding day and leave them in the marriage. Because if they need your help for the wedding day ceremony, I think they will also need something to mobilize them into that marriage, because I mean, you need to give them something to hold them together, settle their rent if they don't have accommodation, something for feeding for a few weeks or month until, it depends on the business they are into, to get them going, or establish them also business-wise to ensure that they're empowered enough. Because you do this wedding for them and the next children are coming out 9 months later. Half the time with this kind of marriage, they don't have problem with birthing children and they come in multiples. So you have to factor that one in as you're sponsoring it also, to understand that children are going to come in. And nobody wants you to just help them on their wedding day, and when children come in, there's no diaper, there's no food for the children, and next thing they're back on the street. So it's a long-term investment, whoever is taking up this project. And we've seen quite a number of state governors, particularly in the northern part of the country, take this initiative of where you hear, 200 people got married in one day, state-sponsored, either people who are widows, widowers, orphans, people who are of marriageable age, and they're looking like, when am I going to have a husband? And the state comes in and say, we can help you do the work. All you need to do is present yourself and look good. And that happens quite a lot. But it's something that we've not interrupted or interrogated, because it seems almost cultural to say, okay, you can have this go on. Perhaps they don't have it. There are people who would look for people to sponsor their wedding for them. That's all they want. And they can manage themselves as long as they don't bring a third person in where you can't provide for, that's when it becomes questionable. As long as you keep it between the both of you until you are sure you can provide for another extra mouth, the basic that is required of that human life, not just food, and when it's 5, you dump the person on the street. No. It means food, clothing, education, skills, empowerment for the future. You're bringing children into a highly competitive world. It is fast-paced. It is digital. Nothing is analog. Everything is computerized in terms of how we evolved and we're moving. It would be so unfair to bring, children into the world that are not prepared in any way with any skills, formal or informal, to just compete. It's a complete disadvantage from their best. And that's why secular poverty continues, from poor parents who are not empowering their children, and the children coming and then they bring more children, and it continues that way. So the Minister of Women Affairs seems to take exception to it. Perhaps maybe she doesn't truly understand, or perhaps the first time it's coming to her hearing that this sort of thing happens. She said the plan is unacceptable and that the future of the girls should be priority. Now, speaking to journalists Monday, the minister said a thorough investigation into the circumstances surrounding the issue will be carried out, and said the ministry will take responsibility for the girls' education and vocational training. Now, that's also a very, very important aspect to look at, and it is well within her domain. If you end up looking at these girls, sometimes you find minors among them who they just feel like, okay, we won't sponsor you for school, but we can fund somebody to marry you off. Why you're not investing in their education? And perhaps maybe if they have a home, or if they are orphan, do they have an orphanage? Do they have a guardian or a ward who is ready to look over them? I mean, is there a structure put in place for orphan children as a result of Boko Haram insurgency and attack, where they've lost parents and guardians, to say, state, this is how we come in to protect these minors. This is how we empower them to ensure they have a good education. And it is not just the girls who are losing their parents. If you're looking at insurgency as a factor, what's happening to the boys? You leave them to the mercy of what? Or you empower them, but you marry the girls off. So it's double standard. So perhaps maybe we start interrogating what more can you do to empower these children for a better future beyond just bundling them and packaging them and handing them over to someone else as a responsibility. I think it's a way also for these individuals and the state to shy away from their responsibility of providing the kind of structure that is required to empower these young girls, these children, these women. They look for the easy way out. Who wants them? I will fund that day, come and take them off our hands. And the long term, more problems. So that's my interpretation. And because I am involved in a lot of gender advocacy and the likes of it, I can understand where the minister is coming from. Now, people can beg to differ, take exception to it and say, it is cultural. But then there's certain cultures that have to give with the time. Take it or leave it. They change. Now, I know some will argue that some of them are embedded in religion. Perhaps you need to justify it if you say so, because sometimes we put it under the blanket of religion, and it's really not under religion. It's just a cultural practice that has gone on for so long that you don't find in other parts of the world where they share similar faith with these people. So it's culture. I've grown enough to understand there's setting up a lot of them that are just purely the culture of the place and not generally being embedded in religion per se. So the actions of the Minister of Women Affairs, justifiable? What do you think? Moving forward, of the mass marriage of young girls, it's a different thing if you have a woman who was married before her husband died and she wants the cover of another man. It's good. Where it's a world where it's a man's world. I've been told repeatedly by friends, a man's world. I understand. We share this world with you guys, but if you want to claim it, well, I hope you're ready for the near future, because that's a conversation for another day. Let's not get there and lose track of the essence of this particular story. All right. I've seen it from at least Kano and Katsina. Kano particularly has a reputation of this mass marriage. But half the time with Kano, is either women who have lost their husbands or who are divorced and want to be married again, and the state coming, and do they arrange the men for them and the women for them, or is just the wedding day sponsorship? Well, a friend that I spoke with say sometimes they could merge you with somebody. You like him, okay, stay now, let's cover it, and then you have that cover. You just have it, to be married. Society is still where it is at this point in time. And then half the time you also have underage girls who are, pushed off because their parents can't provide for them. And instead of leaving them on the street, someone wants to take them on as a wife. And so the funding part coming, or two people who cannot afford it, and the state comes in and say, okay, we can help you put your life together. My concern is, if they are minors and if you're bringing children into it, it is not fair at all for you to be struggling to feed yourself. You can barely make your ends meet. You do not have two coins to rub together, and you bring a third human being in the equation. It is heartless, honest to God. Now, I understand that circumstances and situations can happen where, poor family planning or all of that, and then a baby comes in. But then when you see repeatedly multiple children, then they now get to 9, 11, and you're in one tiny shack and you keep just popping them out. Who's going to take them off of you? In this society of ours as of today, look around you, honestly. So, that's one story. And seeing that I don't have a guest, I would leave things open for you to come in. And talking about coming in, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commissioner filed a fresh 4-count charge against Godwin Emefiele. The guy is still in hot soup because just when he's catching his breath as one is progressing, there's something new that is coming up. It feels like it's a game. They're not bringing all their cards and playing all their hands at once. Well, let's see how this one goes, and bam, another charge, and bam, another charge. So that's what we're seeing with Godwin Emefiele, former governor of the CBN. The anti-graft agency is accusing Emefiele of illegal printing of Naira notes in its fresh charge. Yes, I can see you guys say about time. This is where you come in. Huh? This one touched you particularly, Abby, because you felt the pain of it when we were dealing with the whole Naira redesign, Naira scarcity, and you're buying your money and you were stripping naked in the bank. Maybe not you, but your cousin did. And then we saw a video on social media where people were going to the bank and removing all their clothes, butt naked, in protest that they were not having access to their hard-earned money. Now, some would say it's justifiable. Half of them shocked me to my bone marrow. Like, what in the sweet name of everything decent would make someone reduce to this point? But that's how bad it was. Honest to God. We saw a case where mob took things into their hand and burned ATM and banks in protest. So it was really bad, in case you need me to refresh your memory. So the FCC is bringing it back on the table. Emefiele is expected to be arraigned before Marianne Aneni, a judge at the Federal Capital Territory High Court on Wednesday. And in the charge sheet seen by the cable, EFCC alleges that Emefiele disobeyed the direction of law with intent to cause injury to the public by providing or approving the printing of Naira note without strict approval from former President Muhammadu Buhari and the CBN board. Hold up. Didn't the president say that he approved of this? He did. He said he gave the go-ahead. So, in what sense isn't it a strict approval? Perhaps he didn't give the president all the detail, maybe, and just say, Mr. President, go ahead, Emefiele. Is that the sense of it? But let's trust the judgment of the FCC to get all of the, angles to this argument, and hope they have something to hold up big time in court, because if you just use the strict approval and then you get to court and say, well, the president approved it and then he has that power to do that and all whatnot, we'll see how it plays out. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to try and defend or argue against anything. We'll see how it pans out. But one thing I am particularly excited about is that people can answer for their time in office. You serve us in whatever capacity. Once you're done and you've taken a bow, do not be shy or afraid or cry wolf when we call you to answer for your time, for your policies, for your program, and management of our resources. And we're seeing more of it happen lately. So this is where we are with Emefiele. And talking about another particular interesting case that I'm sure that you have a strong interest in is that of the former Minister of Aviation. Who else is back with more charges? Yes, Hadi Sirika. Him and his brother. And there is more to that. I will bring you the detail of that after this phone call. You've been calling and calling, so let's hear what you have to say. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome to the show. Yeah.
The woman who saw tomorrow, according to
Abubakar has added a new one to it. Nostradamus, am I? Go ahead, sir.
I want to start by commenting on this issue of marrying these children in Niger State. Honestly, I'm in no support of that. Most especially if they are children, you don't have to marry children to children giving birth to children. At least what the speaker should have done to see how he will support the men. If they can be able to get something that they will help themselves in order to take care of their family should in case they got married. But now you are talking of, getting married to this, minors that they are not up to the age of maybe 18 or something for that nature. I'm not in support of that. But the Ministry of Women Affairs, we will remember, even the two girls, the one that have been rescued, what have they done to them? We saw the girls were complaining that even the federal government promised that they are going to take care of them, and at the end they abandoned them. Some of them that they are in American university here in Nigeria, they have been complaining that their schools are going to pay. The only lucky ones are the ones that were able to travel to America. So what has the federal government done to the remaining two girls? The remaining two girls are even threatening that they will go back to the terrorists. So you shouldn't start what you know that you cannot complete. They should take care of the remaining one, the one that they have getting the rescue two girls. They should take care of them. Then before talking of something, then come to the issue of MFLA. I still know why they have been calling MFLA. Why did Buhari come in publicly? He said he approved. I think MFLA must have got the approval from MFLA before he do all this. Buhari coming publicly. He was on telly. He said he approved the nearly design on which we know how people go through. Some people go to the bank, sit themselves naked, kind of crying for help. We see what happened to the bank. We were in Nigeria buying money. I remember how I was spending money in order to get Naira. So these are the things. So why are they not calling Buhari to come and answer to? Are they afraid of Buhari?
All right.
Was he not under Buhari? Was he not, the direction wasn't given to him by Buhari?
All right.
I wonder.
Thank you very much. So Selassie is asking, why are they not bringing the president in? Are we going to get to a future with this case where the president will be forced in? Well, time will tell. I mean, with good luck, Jonathan, we saw the Dasuki Gate scandal. A lot of people were brought in to answer questions. Back and forth. It was so dramatic. It was, a roller coaster ride for those who wanted to follow that particular one. And people are asking, why isn't the former president in this particular case to answer for the approval he gave for that about money? It happened under his word, didn't he? He never came. Where's the case today? Well, we didn't get much out of it. And so until you're ready to bring the big fish in, the big kahunas, we perhaps will never get much out of it. Is this going to be different? Well, time will tell. Talking about the marriage, just to let you know that the Niger State government has waded in and decided we're going to halt that. Maybe this will be the future where we're going to see other states deciding it might not be the best approach anymore to come in with all of this mass wedding. The Speaker of the House of the Niger State House of Assembly, Abdul Malik Serkinga, has stopped the planned hosting of the wedding of the 100 orphan girls in his constituency, saying he would not grace the occasion. I mean, the outrage, the comment from the Minister of Women Affairs has forced the hand of the Speaker. He was going to be there anyway. He didn't say anything wrong with it initially. Until the outcry, like, okay, we want to marry these orphan girls because no one's going to adopt them. We can't send them to school. We can't give them a better future, but to marry them off. And he's saying he will not grace the occasion. So hopefully that puts an end to it, but not an end to it, because we need to interrogate it to stop a practice that has gone on for a long time and been normalized and accepted, even though it constitutes to a certain level abuse of minors. Hello.
Hello. Auntie Kimberly,
yes, welcome.
Okay, Auntie Kimberly, I want to give you an assignment. Please, you use your digital oracle to check if Baba Buhari, if Baba Tinubu is going to bring down the fuel price by May 29, please.
You bring it down to what?
To even though it's 200 or 250, please just use your digital oracle to check. Let me go back to the issue of marriage. Auntie Kimberly.
Yeah.
In our place, from where I come from the family, you first of all get married to your mother, your siblings, to your father before getting married. You understand? You not just rush into marriage because somebody is paying subsidy in marriage. Just say, I'll marry. It doesn't work like that. That's why that is in the northern side. Yeah. You see, they married today, tomorrow they divorce.
Oh, boy, don't make generalized statements. Let's not begin into practice of marriage in different parts of this country. You will find a ridiculousness going on over the country.
You marry her part of my friends are getting married. I'm a young man. It doesn't work. I'm telling you, it doesn't work. Because what you see outside is not what you're going to see inside. You understand? So I think they should subsidize education. They should subsidize good things to them that will make them to become a man or woman before getting married.
All right. Thank you very much. The practice going on in different parts of the country for it to bring out different culture of people who are even marrying other women to marry for their husband because they did not have children and all of that. You'll be stunned. So that one made the news and it's a general thing and we're tackling it does not mean it's the worst of all evils. By the time we go around and you find practices that are going on involving minors and young children, even in places where they have child right acts to protect them and people are not calling them out because it's our practice in this particular area, you'll be stunned. And so we're not going to go down that road about, the hypocrisy of what's happening in one place and turn our blind eye to the other. Hello?
Hello, this is Oracle. Kimberly, how are you? I'm calling from Wawalada.
Go ahead, sir.
My question is, corruption waxing stronger in Nigeria? The immediate past superpowers minister have been brought to justice. Will they be able to be prosecuted? They have enjoyed the loot. Can you dispossess them of their loot? That is the question. They have some of senior sons at their beckoning because they have the largest. They can spread it. I don't know if they can be able to buy justice. This anti-corruption fight is a ruse. There's no sincerity on it. If I can acquire billions and you engage me in media trial, publicity, after the deed has been done, the harm has been done. Thank you. That is my take.
All right. Thank you very much, Abubakar. I appreciate it. Now, what I mentioned had the Sirika's case. To just build on it, the AFCC charged former Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika, his brother Ahmed Sirika, and his company, Engineers Nigeria Limited, over 19.4 billion naira fraud. The sum is said to be for several aviation ministry contracts from the former minister to Engineers Nigeria Limited, owned by Sirika's younger brother Abubakar. The Sirika brothers and Engineers Nigeria Limited will be arraigned before Justice Belgore of the FCT High Court today. It is the second charge the EFCC will be filing against the ex-aviation minister. It was last Thursday, remember, arraigned for 2.7 billion naira fraud before the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja. Sirika was charged on 6 counts alongside his daughter Fatima, his brother-in-law Jalal Hamam, and Abdul Al-Burak Investment Limited, in which they pleaded not guilty, were granted a bail of 100 million naira each. And then this new one is coming in that involves him and his brother and his brother's company over aviation-related contract that favored them based on his position as the former minister then. So we got to see. I had to bring you back on the heel of the MFLA one to tell you that new charges are still springing up. So for people who are saying, EFCC, what about this one? What about this one? They're taking their time. They're putting their facts together, putting hopefully their evidences together as they bring it up. And perhaps it's a strategy. Back in the day with EFCC, you can just hear the sensationalism, 100 count charge, or they will bring so many count charges. And then our heads will be spinning and we'll be in awe and wonderment as to, wow, this one individual all by himself or herself, and then it falls like a pack of cards when they get caught. The lawyers are sweating under their suits trying to defend this argument. And perhaps they've gone back to their drawing board to saying, this strategy ain't working. It makes us look incompetent when we talk about all of these charges and become so sensational, and we can't hold it up in court with a proper argument because the judges are not going to interpret based on emotions or public outcry or the court of public opinion. It's going to be based on the evidence presented by it, and then they'll use their fine judgment to interpret based on the provisions in our laws. And so there's a lot of work on those who are accusing and saying this is what we have, and it's still a case of innocent until proven guilty, or is it guilty until proven innocent here? Whatever. You take it to court. and you bring your cases. So maybe they are taking their fine time one after the other, wrapping things up nicely before they proceed into the other. It's a change of strategy that I've noticed beyond two AFCC ministers back where, it's loud and big and then it falls down completely without any substance to it. So we're going to see with this. So our eyes on the former Minister of Aviation, on the former CBN governor, as much as people are still asking about the former Attorney General, I beg your pardon, Accountant General. Remember his 109 billion naira fraud case. And as at February this year, I know Ahmed Idris' case was still pretty much in court where the Federal High Court Abuja adjourned to March 20th. And then after that, the case continued and adjournment. So we're going to see, it'd be nice to follow through as to where they are at the moment with the Accountant General. It's talking about diversion of 109 billion naira. The case is still on for those who are asking, even though it was granted bail. Doesn't mean it's all clear. We haven't heard the last of it. These kind of cases, they take a long time in Nigeria for some reason. Because of the kind of laws we have and the kind of room we give to defend things to the very end to be sure that an innocent person is not charged at the end of the day. So yeah, our eyes are still on the former Accountant General. Nobody has forgotten about him and his particular case. Hello. Welcome to the show.
I'm a lucky person again.
Okay.
My name is Salasi.
1 minute, Salasi, seeing that you've called before.
1 minute. I want to talk about the case of Hadi Sirika. As we may all know, Nigerian Air was the scam of the year. Now, look at how they are discovering billions now, given to them and their family. And as they are getting this money, they will go and buy a house for Maitama and Asokoro for best. So that if they say you must get house in Maitama, they get house in Maitama. If they say you must get house for Asokoro, you get house for Asokoro. That is why they are there embezzling and starting this money to their family member and their cronies. Just imagine, do you remember when he said he buy firefighters a vehicle? For each one cost about how many billions? A vehicle buying for firefighters. And where are the vehicles? So these are the things, though. I hope something will come out of this case. Thank you for giving me the privilege. I used my 1 minute correctly.
Thank you very much, Salasi. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, my name is Jerry.
All right, Jerry, we're listening.
Yeah, my take is on this, our governor in Niger State, clean his hand. If he's truly clean his hand, let him forward a law that will prevent marrying teenagers or some people like that, an orphan. Because orphan is a human being who have a right to choose who she wants or he wants. You understand? And secondly, about Emefiele, I always say this. Emefiele withdraw money without unlawful. Emefiele this, Emefiele that. Emefiele have a 500 account in a foreign country. Emefiele do this. Why are they doing this to Emefiele? Part of the Buhari. When a driver jam a person, instead of arresting the driver, they begin to look for conductor anyway. And you see the driver is sitting there drinking tea. Why? You understand? All I'm saying is just injustice. What is killing this country is injustice. Honestly, what is killing justice from A to Z is injustice. And injustice, I don't think whether God is God of injustice. So let us, first of all, look for justice first. First, look for justice. How are the leader who call himself a leader? The embezzling money who made for people is not ordinary. It's not ordinary. The money he cannot.
All right, sir.
Even his generation cannot use it enough. Is it ordinary?
All right, sir.
Nigeria is sit on in innocent soul, innocent blood. Honestly, that is disturbing us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's look at messages. Brown Trendy on YouTube says, good day, fellow countrymen. Asupita says, OTF, the way the country is going, my advice to Nigerians is try not to die. The country may be good because our leaders are not ready to think good for them. Huh? Emmanuel Samuel says, another misplacement of priority has been displayed by those who claim to be representing us. Why won't he make a move to establish them instead of supporting them to be married out? And Giannola says, I hail you, my sister. Well done work. You know, when somebody is tired of Nigeria matter, you just hail and move. Also, Francis Namani says he's watching from Agunze in Enugu State. And Mr. Peter B's visit, we haven't gotten there, but that's the last story to look at. And He says others welcome development. May they form a strong coalition to battle APC in 2027. Matthew Obeson says, I'm happy about the ongoing drama between Wike and Fubara. Promises to be interesting. Is it under my comment that people are just giving a random thought that we didn't bring up? Dan Ladi Hassan Kobi says, honestly, it's really very disheartening what's going on in our country. MFLA in court with a wishy-washy charge. Hope EFCC is sure about winning. Kimberly, we don't suffer. Chris Idoku says he's afraid of Buhari and also losing northern vote in 2027. MFLA was and remains the appointee of Buhari and acted on his directive. If he can't touch Buhari, why not put a stop to the joke of a witch hunt trial, is what Chris Idoku is saying, not attaching much substance to it at this point in time. Now, let me throw the last story in. So that we can open up the phone lines. We talked extensively yesterday about Wike and Fubara. We're not bringing it back today, even though there's a talk about, charging, and until it goes from talk to action, we'll leave it at that. But here's a talk that might crystallize into a bit of formidable action in the near future. It just might. Hold your horses, don't get excited just yet. The 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, on Monday, held a closed-door meeting with former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and the presidential candidate of the PDP. He also met alongside a number of PDP stalwarts in Abuja. Obi also met separately with a former member of Jigawa State, Sule, the former governor, of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, and former Senate President Bukola Saraki, a development that sparked speculation about potential coalition ahead of the 2027 general election. They have not come out to say this is what it is. It is merely speculation based on why would he visit him? Why would he visit them? What are they cooking? What are they planning at this point in time? We know Obi was a member of PDP until 2022 when he defected to Labour Party to pursue his presidential ambition. He came third behind Atiku in the 23rd February election, which was won by Bola Tinubu of the APC. Atiku blamed Obi's defection from the PDP for his loss to Tinubu. Others have said, Atiku wasn't the one who chased Obi from PDP. It was Wike, it was this, he said, she said, meow, 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 catfight. But pundit argued that Atiku's 6,984,520 votes and Obi's 6,101,533 votes would have secured victory against Tinubu, who garnered 8,794,726 votes. Monday's meeting was the first since after the election that Obi and Atiku would be meeting to public knowledge. And online platforms, people are speculating, based on the videos that have come out, that it just might be a plan and a coalition and an effort towards 2027. What do you think? Hello?
Hello, Kim.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah, I'm happy to be with you today. This is Barrister Hassan.
Oh, my good. Barrister Hassan, you're still pretty much in this country. I thought you had left us at one point. You're welcome.
Thank God. Yes, may God help us.
Amen.
All this night. Yes, my attention goes to the issue of marriages. Somebody has expressed concern over the state of unfair marriages that take place in our country, especially in the northern part of the country. See, let me tell you something. The truth is that the major objective of any marriage, as ordained by Almighty God, is for the two parties to help themselves, each other, in order for them to be matured enough to enjoy eternal life. Because that's the reason why we're here. Understand? That's why we're here in this world. This world is a school of life. But people go and marry teenagers. And what happens thereafter? DVF, vaginal vesicle fistula, because of the underage nature of the female partners. Domestic violence. And the fact that they don't go for the educational development. And this invariably, ends up in ensuring that, national development progress are certified. Understand? Because the female segment of this population of Nigerians is not allowed to contribute their quota Everybody has its own talent. You are not allowing the female Nigerians to contribute their quota to national development. You go to Canada, go to Britain, go to China. The women are actively contributing to the national development of their country. But it's not so in Nigeria. Because we see women as inferior women. And it's not right. It's not right. Something must be done about this. It's not right. Kim, it's not right.
I agree with you.
And God will help us in this regard.
Amen.
God will help us.
Thank you very much, Barrister Hassan, and always a delight to hear from you. Hello.
Good afternoon, Kim.
Good afternoon. You're welcome.
Okay, my name is Patrick.
Welcome, Patrick.
Yeah, I'm calling from New Carroll.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to talk about the proposed marriage in Niger State. Yeah, the day that news broke, I went through the details of the headline, and there was never a place where the Speaker of Niger State House of Assembly said that he wanted to force guests on husbands on those ladies. What he emphasized was that these ladies, 50% of them already have suitors, but according to what it is in their culture, that their parents supposed to send them out with something like Christians, furnitures and clothes, that he will sponsor this for their parents because their parents are poor. Now, coming down to the Minister of Women's Affairs.
Are you talking about the same story? Because these ones are labeled to be orphans, 100 of them. You know, there's a different one that's happening in Kano and different stories.
Yes. He said some are orphans. Yes, I forgot to add that. And even in those orphans, he said they have suitors already. According to him, that they have suitors already.
Okay.
So now, coming down to the Minister of Women Affairs, I love what she's doing. I am for giving women the opportunity to get to the heights in life. I am for that. But let's look at Nigeria as a whole, especially the North. Sorry, I'm making emphasis on the North. We know that many ladies, when they get to the top and see the North, everything some of their parents think is that for them to get married. And it has been an age-long culture. And we have seen that what we should be advocating for is that there is to be a bit of change. Is it possible for these girls to go back to school, empower them well, for them to be well-grounded? At least if she's up to the standard of 25 and she's educated and even empowered very, very, even though she's not educated and she's empowered well, very, very well, she gets married. I think that should be our advocacy now. If the Minister of Women Affairs is saying that she want to go and bring those guests, after 4 years, what will happen to these guests? After 8 years, what will happen to these guests? We don't have safety homes in Nigeria. We see children who are picked. Maybe their parents, the lady who gave birth to them, abandoned them. We see them. Some people, it is goodwill Nigerians that adopt them. Government cannot take that responsibility. So the core here is this: if the Speaker of the Niger State is not forcing anybody to marry those guests, and the Minister of Women Affairs thinks that she has the capacity to take the responsibility, I think we should do that. So more emphasis should be that parents, can we empower more parents so that they can be able to train these guests, even not education, let them just get a livelihood to sustain them when they get married. I think that's my view.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution, thoughtful one on this particular one. Let's go on a quick break. Okay. Now let's look at more of the messages on Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. Innocent Wisdom. I celebrate you also watching us from Guagua. Thank you very much. Adekunle Olayinka is watching us from Sheffield in the UK and wants us to know he's joining the conversation. Thank you very much. I see Mrs. Omeza trying to call. You can call back, but let's see. Do we have a break? Okay, there's time enough for you to make a comment. Hello?
Hello, Tim. How are you?
I'm all right. Good afternoon.
All right. Well done work to you.
Thank you,
On
ma'am.
the issue of marriage, I have a friend because there's no time. Because the wife is always giving him problem. He told me that he wants to marry second wife. I said, okay, no problem, because religion allow you to marry as much as you want. But remember the investment.
Is it as much as you want or four?
Wait now.
No,
It's
when you say as
African
much as you want,
No,
you
the
use
Muslim
religion.
in African tradition worshiper. He be. Wait.
Okay, you
So
should
I
have
asked him,
emphasized on that.
Do you have somebody you want to marry? You know what he told me? He said no. So how do you want to go about it? He said, is it not women? Women are many. I said, I take exception from that word. You that I know you are finding it difficult to feed. You are the one that is telling me you want to marry second wife, or if you say you can marry two because your wife is giving you problem. Now you ask one sensitive question that made me to call. How will you take care of those children you are bringing? It's not even about you as well or your wife. It's about these children. Look at the children we are seeing everywhere, ma. How many you fit take care of? I'm lucky. My father had 7 of us. My father did not train us. It's my father's brother that trained us. How many people, how many uncles and aunties will be able to train you to master's degree in this country of today? And that is why we are where we are. We should remove sentiment. Whether you are working, look at what you are earning to know if you can take care of 4 children or not. Finally, on the issue of Mr. Peter Obi and Mr. Atiku, I will tell you for free. Right from inception, Mr. Peter Obi is always respecting Atiku. So anytime you want to talk to Atiku anyhow, remember that he's a father to your candidate, Peter Obi. The marriage, I pray it will work out. Because that's the only way to move forward. Because this APC, yes, it be. Let her off my mic, right?
Thank you very much for doing the needful. Off your mic, Mrs. Omeza. All right, let's hear this other caller quickly, if it patches through. Hello?
Hello, Tim.
Yes, you're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the show. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Abba Lusiande.
We're listening, sir.
Yeah, I just want to comment on the issue of MFA. I don't really know what, sorry.
Can you project? We can barely hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Go ahead, sir.
Fine. So I don't really know why they are kind of discussing MFA. We see that this guy was directly employed by Buhari. I don't know why it's so difficult for them to invite Buhari. He's around, he's in Nigeria. Call him. Question him. So they keep on speaking around the bush as if they are afraid of him. If they cannot they should stop this charade they call of trial, because for me they're just playing. I don't know what they're doing. Honestly. And secondly, the issue of this children marriage is not. If you go to North, marrying, helping people to parents to pay dowry and the rest, something like the kind of something that is like you're doing work of God. So it's normal thing that people are even praying for to do it. Just as some of us are from the southern Nigeria, when we hear this so often, and something that is so strange. But then you know there is no strange. In fact, parents are praying for people to come ahead and pay for their children dowry. So it's normal thing there. Thank you.
All right. Well, like I said, sometimes it's okay to focus on one aspect of it. What might be perceived from one section as wrong is accepted there, and what you see on the other side that you vilify might be normalizing the other aspect of it. But in this country, I've seen well enough where people are bonded up against their will and consent to marriage. We'll talk more after the break. Stay with us.
is Nigeria Info.